This is just a quick little video about threading with 12 weight thread. So if you're using Sulky 12 weight thread or any 12 weight thread, with Sulkies, usually they come on this type of a spool. You're going to want to make sure that you use these little guys, which is considered your foam disc. They just go over your spindle and then it holds up your thread. You're going to thread just like normal up through your guide and then down through here. One important thing to remember, and this is with any threading, not just heavier threads, you need enough slack here for it to make it all the way through the threading path. Your air threading will not pull it off of the spool, but it will shoot the slack thread through. So we're just going to go to threading here. I'm going to crank my flywheel until it locks in and so my threading paths are closed. And then I'm just going to put this into, this is my lower looper. You need about an inch to get it started, and then just push your button or push your lever, whichever machine you happen to have. And it should shoot through. And it should do it the first time. I will admit that on the Triumph, sometimes it will not go all the way through. And you're expecting it to come through here. And let me get closer so that you can see. It should be shooting through here. Again, every now and then it will not go all the way through, even if you have enough slack. So let me pull this out a little bit again. So you can see I have all this slack and it's still not going all the way through. But that time it did. So sometimes you need to just back it out and pull it back through. If for some reason it just refuses to go through all the way, here's a trick that you can use. And this is also something that you're going to need to use if you use really heavy threads. So this is what's called a thread carrier. I don't know if you can even see that, but this is just a piece of standard weight thread that is twice the length of your threading path, which is through here. And I've just folded this in half. So one end has a loop here, and one end has the two loose pieces. So what you're going to do, this is the carrier, this little piece of thread. You're going to take the two loose ends and you're going to put them into the threading path, just like you would a single piece. This is the important, I'm going to get these out of the way here for just a second. So your two ends are in here. This is the important part. Hang on to the loop end and shoot those through. And again, you can see here, this is just barely through. Tweezers come in handy. Just grab both of those ends. And you can see as I'm pulling here, can you see this part is pulling through? You don't want to pull it all the way through. So you've got hold of this end and you've got this end. So there's a loop here. Hopefully that's showing up on the camera. This is the thread that you're trying to thread. You're just going to put this through this loop and create another loop. So now you have a loop in a loop. I'm trying to get this into a spot that you can actually see it. So there's a loop in a loop. And you still have these two ends here. So just carefully hold on to this side as you're pulling this side through gently. And you can see that end disappearing in. And I'm pulling in the direction that the thread's coming out. So in this case, I'm going this way. On the upper looper, you would be pulling the other direction. So just carefully pull this through, making sure it doesn't get caught on anything. And now here, there's my other loop. So now you can just pull this all the way through and your looper is threaded. All right, so I'm going to do that again on the upper looper. Pretty much exactly the same thing. You would just thread both your loose ends into your threading port. Hold on to the loop end, which is here. And those come out this end. Take the thread that you're trying to thread, loop it through. So now I have 2 loops intertwined there. And on this one, because this looper's going that direction, I'm just going to gently pull this way. And there's my upper looper through. And then I would just cut both of these to the length of the door, and you can just put this back to serging, close this, and I just let the machine write those threads themselves. So just stitch off a little bit and they'll write themselves, and you'll be all ready to go. Here's another little tip about working with the 12-weight thread. So this is the sulky, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes when these get way down to almost the bottom of the spool, as this is coming off, it can kind of hook on this, and so it will cause your stitches to become uneven. If that's the case and you don't want to waste this thread, I always save my old spools, and then you can just wind your thread off onto one of these type of spools, and then it will feed off much easier instead of getting caught on the top of this little guy. Just a little tip. All right, hope that helps. Thanks.